Another week, another L. It's actually crazy. Another episode of Touchline Hotspurs, man. Got a great cast here. Very appropriate cast for the show that we've got at hand today. You know what? We've got a new cast member here today. I'd like to introduce Yao. How you doing, my bro?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait for your opinions today, man. It's gonna get crazy.
Gonna be flying off the roof.
Owen, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, good. I mean, I'm not even sure if the game's even finished yet, but obviously we're recording right off the back of this. My router's tried to reset itself. I think it's trying to spare me some pain.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm humbled to be joining your company, brother.
And Tops, I see your face. I can see it in your face. I don't even have to ask how you're feeling, bro.
Yeah, brother, I'm disgusted, man. I'm utterly disgusted, bro.
You know what?
Bro, that's it, man. That's it, man.
I say we get straight into it because there's no avoiding this, man. Like, what was that? What, Owen? What did we just see? Like, what?
You know what? There was quite a lot of talk before the game that we should rest pretty much all of our kind of top first team players for this, considering we already had a 2-goal lead against favoured opposition. So I saw the lineup before the game, and I was quite happy that we were starting Harry Kane. Like, I didn't think we were good enough to be resting him. Like, I felt like he was the difference maker in the first leg. Rest of it, I was glad to see Aurier back in the team, Lloris in goal instead of Captain Cataracts. Dier and Sanchez paired at centre back. Didn't hate it. I still feel like they could do the job. Ben Davis, no surprises there. Decided to rest both of our centre midfielders, our best ones anyway, and went with Winks and Sissoko, and the rest of the team being made up by Lucas, Namela, Dele, and Kane. And I was advocating for Dele to get more minutes as well. So again, I didn't hate that lineup. Just to summarise the first half, nothing really happened at all. The pitch itself was like very clumpy. It had very long grass. It was not an excuse, but it just made for a quite poor game for both sides, especially for Zagreb, who not only just had their manager done for fraud, they tend to like to actually play football on the floor. They've got quite a few technical, incisive players which are doing well in their league at the moment. They're flying high, so
yeah,
they made it difficult. But yeah, it was a nothing first half.
Yeah, not to make excuses or anything, but I think Orsic has been playing pretty well. I would say, even though it was a nothing first half, Zagreb probably had the better of that half from what I saw. There was that little chance they had where they were coming on the inside, and I think Sanchez slipped, or it might have been Sissoko who slipped. One of the guys slipped, and just from that moment,
Sanchez slipped.
Yeah, Sanchez. I mean, from that moment, like I just knew already, man. I could see what was gonna happen. But my brother Tops, listen, talk me through what you see, man. How do you what's going on? What did you see just now?
Oh man, do you know what? Like, I saw the lineup because I was working till 6:30 in it. So I saw the lineup at 5, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not watching the first half of that. Definitely not watching the first half of that, because when I saw some of the names in that team, double pivot of Sissoko and Wink, left back Davies, Dyer. Yeah, I thought
disappointing, man.
I just thought, yeah, there's not much point. So I missed the first half, and the second half, man, it's just, I don't know, brother. I feel like it was abject. That's one word I can use to describe this second half. Obviously, do you know what? Like, the thing that's crazy to me is that, like, this bunch of players, especially these players that played today, like, I watched that second half, and I swear it looked to me like 11 guys chucked together that don't have a clue what they're doing, or they don't have a clue about what they're supposed to be doing. Like, there was no patterns of play, no trying to control the game, even up 2-0 down, no trying to manage the game. It was just complete chaos. and went into extra time thinking, okay, let's change it up. Brings on Reguilon. Lo Celso done all right. Bell come on. Vinicius. And I'm just looking at these subs and I'm not seeing any impact. Nothing, like zero impact. In truth, my head is hot. My head is so hot right now. But what can I do? Like, this season is done now, man. I'm so vexed right now. I can't even speak, man. Like,
But a lot of people would say the season's been done, but like seriously, to go out of Europa League at this point, like it's a shame, man. It's a shame. Yao, come on, man. Give us some perspective, man. It's your first perspective on the show. Bless us.
Do you want perspective of what I saw in the game or just perspective in general?
Do you know what? I think that the other two guys covered the game. Let me get some perspective in general. Like, why do you think we're in this situation?
We've always been in this situation. Look, I hate to be the bringer of bad news, especially being a Spurs fan since born and raised in the area. I'm Tottenham through and through, but we've always been in this situation. I mean, I can't tell you of a time in which we reached a semi-finals of the Europa League, or probably in the early 90s. But ever since it's been changed into the Europa League, we haven't gone no further than the quarterfinals. We've made the finals of the Champions League with an absolute, how should I put this? Amazing fairy tale story run to the final due to the fact that the players, I don't know why, for whatever reason, played out of their skin. We made it to the final and done what we always do as Spurs, didn't turn up. So this is absolutely nothing new. I'd like to bring perspective in the sense of a lot of people will be calling for their head of the manager. But let's look at the lineup that he put out today. Kane played, the apparent world-class superstar, English Brazilian Harry Kane.
Hey, I don't like the way you're talking about Kane.
I'm giving you the perspective here. Yeah, you had Dele Alli, who, in fairness, hasn't played majority of the season, hasn't played many minutes. He got a run in the game. But let's go to the back line, because when it's with Spurs, it's always that defense. You had Davinson Sanchez, who I cannot believe I'm going to be saying this, but may have possibly be our best defender this season, and that's shocking to say. Yeah.
Wait. Before you move on, guys, what anyone got a rebuttal to that?
I would say Toby has made the least amount of glaring errors in our backline this season, and that's where the bar is for me. Just someone who just hasn't made glaring, silly errors.
I
was advocating for Sanchez to play, and then recently, I guess against Palace, a bit of an error, and then against Arsenal, which we'll discuss the penalty situation a little later on in the pod. I'm sure I felt like he was careless for. So I think now at this point, even though the bar's on the floor, it's probably Toby.
Yeah, no, I won't disagree with that, Owen Too Tough. But what I would say is Toby can't even play 3 games in a row. I mean, it's not his fault. It is that point in his career in which, unfortunately for us, he can't play multiple games in a row. So with that being said, that's the only reason why I might say Sanchez may nick it. Not to say that he's been fantastic, but that's where, yeah, you're right. The bar is in the pits of hell. And then you've got Eric Dyer, who, if I'm correct, did Eric Dyer just get selected for England?
Yeah, brother, he did, man. He did.
I mean, for what? What did they need him to? Run up the stairs in the stadium to go and attack somebody who's destroyed his brother? I don't know what they need him for.
The bar
I don't actually know what they need him for.
Man.
Southgate picks off form, apparently.
Southgate picks off pizzas. That's what he picks off. Like, hey.
Tops. What's like that? The back line, man. Like, I feel like this is
like, bro, man. You know me, man. I've been saying it from a long time, especially this season, bro. Tottenham were never going to do anything in this season with the defense that we have. And I know people were saying it could be about a system, it could be about individual errors. I've seen enough of these players, bar Reguilon. I've seen enough to be able to tell me that these are not the players these are not the defenders that are not going to take us to the next level. Bar Reguilon and a 50-50 Aurier. I kid you not, brother. I want that whole backline gone. I say it with a straight face. Dyer, Toby, Davies, Sanchez, all them man, Doherty, all them man. I want them all gone because I can't continue to watch this lot butcher this team. I can't continue it. I can't continue it.
Toes, I can see that your head's hot, yeah, because the background behind you is turning different colors, so it's obvious that you're fuming. You're absolutely livid, yeah. But I want to bring something to reality in this situation. Sanchez was a bit of a rotational defender in his first few seasons, especially under Poch. Youngster, so he didn't necessarily start ahead of Toby or Jan Vertonghen. Toby has obviously aged, unfortunately for us. Dyer was the defensive midfielder, and when he wasn't defensive midfield, he wasn't even starting at centre back. So, what I'm trying to bring to light here is, I promise you tonight, if it's not even started before the game, yeah, tonight is Jose out. Yeah, don't be surprised if tomorrow Jose is sacked. Yeah, I'm not saying he will be, but don't be surprised if he is. But the problem that a lot of Spurs fans have, and the problem with fans in general, especially of today, is that they never seem to understand that in the English game, 90% of the time, it's the players. Now, if we're going to sit here and say that Spurs have an apparent, on paper, better team than Zagreb, yeah, then that means that these players, even playing in Gear 1, should literally steamroll this team. But football, unfortunately, is not just played on ability. It never has been. Yeah, you have to have the right mentality. You have to have the right passion in a 90-minute game. That's why when an upset happens, it shocks everyone because they're like, "Oh, how did that happen?" Well, it's because you didn't care about the game. We went into we will touch on it, of course, but we all know what happened in the North London derby. I don't need to tell my 11 players as a manager that you're about to go onto a pitch against your actual rivals, a team that didn't even start in North London, that have now become your out-and-out rivals, and you can't even show the right passion to play for 90 minutes. What did you think was going to happen today?
I mean,
I watched half an hour, and I knew what time it was.
Like, look at that last goal. If we were to pick apart the game, look at that last goal, man. I mean, the brother gets it on the left. Bale, I don't see no intensity in the press. He comes across to Aurier. Aurier does some weak-ass left-footed back flick to try and stop him. Beats him. He then runs between both Ndombele and Sissoko. We're talking P&P merchants here. Runs between them both. Then still has to find a corner with an on-rushing Davinson Sanchez and to beat the corner with Lloris in goal. That's what we're having to do at the moment. In extra time, that's what our football club is putting on the pitch. Like, it's disappointing, man. Like, it's actually disappointing. I'm trying to understand, how do we change this? Because certain men are saying it's the manager. Like, I actually largely agree with what you're saying, about it mostly being the players. But you still need to have a plan. And not only do you, like, there was a discussion that we were having in the group chat where it was like, there's a certain type of player that will always be able to play at the highest level and produce at the highest level, because largely a lot of them have the talent and a lot of them maybe or maybe don't have the desire or the passion. I'm watching that performance tonight and I'm seeing from a number of these guys a lack of passion and a lack of severe talent. And I know it's crazy because I'm not a pro footballer, but like we said it on the weekend, and I think, Era, you agreed with me as well. I watched that game on the weekend and I said, you know what? There's a couple men in that team that played as if they didn't know they were in a North London derby. They played 100%. As if they 100%. Did not care, were completely disinterested. And you think to yourself, fine, and this is the one thing that I also am upset about, is that, like, this team today, we needed something to bring us back, because there was a poor performance on the weekend, and we knew the importance of this tournament to us in terms of our season next season. We needed a situation where we could try and pull ourselves back. We needed a situation where we could try and redeem ourselves after the performance on the weekend. And that is one thing that I used to quite enjoy about Pochettino's team. We would lose a game and we would come hard the next game. But with this team, the minute we go down, the minute we look like we might be losing, the minute we're in a position where we have to win, this team just does the opposite. And time again, it's happening. And today, I wanted a reaction. Fine, the team wasn't strong. You're 2-0 up against Zagreb. You're away from home. This is a must not lose game. We need to go into this game and get a result. Just not lose badly. We are now looking at a 3-0 defeat. And we're out against Zagreb. Like,
it's funny because we could have even lost. We could have lost and went through.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm kidding myself.
I'm absolutely done. Like this season, I thought after that North London derby, in my mind, I was like, all right, Prem done. Whatever happens in the Prem happens in the Prem. Let's at least give ourselves 6-7 games in the Europa League. Try and get ourselves in Champions League, even if we don't deserve it. After all, we basically shithoused a Champions League final. You're telling me that we can't do that in Europe? And these men are out here disgracing us. Like oh man, I can't even. I'm honestly lost for words. I can't believe what I watched tonight.
Listen, before we move on to, because we definitely have to move on to Mourinho. We have to follow. We have to at least, I don't know, man. Like we have to break it down. But before we move on to Mourinho, there's 2 players. In fact, there's 3 players that I just wanted to ask you guys' opinions on, like their performances today, and not in fact not so much their performances today, but I just want to know how much faith you have in them. So these 3 players are Dele Alli, Harry Winks, and Hugo Lloris.
Okay, I would like.
Oh, you need to step up, and I want to hear this, Owen.
Hugo Lloris. It's been hard to tell with him recently because he's showings where he does have these dips in form tend to happen every year. But there's more factors now where obviously he's a Pochettino loyalist. Like many of us are. There's nothing wrong with that. But he just happens to be managing a team in his home country's capital city. So maybe that's been playing on his mind. I don't think he had a particularly bad game today. He probably could have done better for the 3rd goal. I think he got beaten at his near post. But overall, I don't think he was a mitigating factor for us going out tonight. Dele, I had big hopes for. I thought he'd look sharp in the cameos he did have recently. In particular against Fulham. Everything he seemed to be doing seemed to come off. He had a decent cameo against Arsenal, I thought. So, okay, I was looking for him to build on it tonight, but everything he tried to apply in the final third didn't come off whatsoever. He looked like he was even reluctant to attack certain spaces. There was one time in the first half where Kane played Dele in on the left. Looked like a good opportunity to shoot. He tried to shoot first time and just completely missed the ball. It just looked like that intensity which he had showed in recent games had gone. So it doesn't look great for him going into the summer. I think at this point now I'd lean towards him being one of our only kind of commodities that we can get decent money for. Because the squad needs a rebuild. That's evident. Harry Winks. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he actually had a good first half. He was actually one of the players who was getting on the ball, finding passes between the lines, but there was next to no movement ahead of him. So for what he had to work with, I think he did well. He was actually shouting at quite a lot of our players every time he had to kind of pass backwards or sideways as if to try and force some movement from our team. I think he was partly overrun in the second half, but again, like that's more of a team thing. And he obviously got taken off for Ndombele because we had to leave Sissoko on for actually some defensive cover, which ended up being redundant again. Anyway,
cover, basically.
So out of the 3, I'd say Winks was the most positive tonight, and overall probably has the most positive future.
I hear that, man. It's a shame, but like from my perspective, I'm tempted to agree. I might even put Winks in there too. It feels like all three are like, I wouldn't say on the decline, but I mean, I don't have much faith in them getting much better at the moment or putting in much better performances than they're putting in at the moment.
I feel like, unfortunately, Lloris is on the decline, man. Whether we have to believe it or not. Whilst being a loyal servant, and he's been there through everything, he is on the decline. You can't really trust him at the moment, and I feel like whilst he was someone who almost we were looking to like inspiring us when we first started after the restart, and this season, I feel like it really probably is quite taxing for him, and I feel like he probably needs to move on for him to be able to probably enjoy his football again. I've really I've had stocks in Ali for a long time, and I actually feel for his career he needs to move on from Tottenham now. You look at him and I just don't see the same fight. I just don't see the same drive. There was talks in the Discord earlier on about him maybe moving to a lower club. I think he just needs to enjoy his football again, get to a place where he doesn't feel like he has to play under pressure and just enjoy playing, because like he's a youngish sort of guy with a lot of his career to go. He really, I personally believe, needs to move on, and we need to just cash in. Winks, I've always been a fan of Winks, but again, I think this is the kind of player that makes us somewhat Spursy. Like on the face of it, looks all shiny, looks all good, but when you really, really get to it, when you really, really need him to put in a graft, when you really need something from him, it just falls by the wayside, man. So in my opinion, again, like it might sound harsh, but I wouldn't be averse if three of those men were not to be there at the beginning of the next season. It wouldn't like make me upset. I just feel like Owen said, this football club, man, from top to bottom, just needs a refresh. And it sickens me because we took the easy option, man. We took the easy option, whether we like to believe it or not. We took the easy option, the expensive option. And look at us now. We are actually worse off, in my opinion, than we were when Posh got sacked. Because when Posh got sacked, I just thought it could only go up from there. But I'm looking at us now, and the outlook is so negative, man. It's so negative. A squad of players that's completely mixed, no style. It almost looks as if half of them have no passion for it. Like, we can actually say this was a Spursy week. It was a fucking Spursy week. I'm so disgusted by this lot right now. You have no idea. Like,
Robert Yao, the chat was saying you got to cheer up, bro.
I'm a happy man. Hey, you know what's funny? For a debut appearance on this, it's gonna come across like man doesn't even support Spurs, but I do. I feel like sometimes my reality in terms of how I look at things is extremely brutal. So sometimes people don't like the take that I give. But I don't disagree with much of what Owen said in terms of who may necessarily keep their position out of the three that you mentioned. But if it's truly up to me, alongside Tops's thought process, all three of them can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Hugo has been drunk. You have to call it for what it is. Hugo's been drunk. We don't know which Hugo's going to turn up. We don't know if it's sober Hugo or drunk Hugo. And for far too long, we've been messing about with a coin as to which Hugo's going to turn up. I ain't got time for this, because you need a commanding goalkeeper in between those sticks, especially if you've got a weak defensive line. He barely talks, which many players have said in the past, yeah? He barely talks. So 9 times out of 10, if a ball comes into the box and the players don't even hear it, they're just assuming, Hugo's going to come collect that. They look back, go. Next thing you know, we're 1-0 down. So I'm not having enough of that. In terms of Winks, Harry Winks is Oh my goodness.
Shout out Muga, just cooking, man.
Harry
They're cooking
Winks.
over there, man. They're
Yeah.
cooking over there.
Harry Winks is everything you. How should I put this? Okay, I'm gonna say it like this. Harry Winks, yeah, is just like when you buy those gold chocolate coins, yeah. From a distance, that looks like a £1 coin. You're like, oh, I've struck gold. I'm happy. Then you go and reach for it, and you realize it's just nasty chocolate. It's not even the top quality. It's not even the Swiss chocolate. It's actually crap. Yeah. Harry Winks is the perfect example of the English media seeing one fantastic performance and telling you that this guy, yeah, is the next big thing. What he is the next big dump. That's exactly what he is. So if Harry Winks leaves this summer, yeah, I am perfectly happy for him to absolutely go. He is the footballing equivalent, yeah, of, how should I put this? I don't know if you guys, somebody's actually put it. Corey Brewer. It's actually perfect. He is the footballing equivalent of Corey Brewer. Whoever said that, clap for yourself. That is absolutely perfect. Now, move away from Harry Winks. I'm now going to go into Dele Alli. The kid's cool. Yeah, he's done. Yeah. We've seen his best years.
Yeah, he's done.
Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard are exactly the same. Yeah. Exactly the same as far as concerned. They've hit their peak and it's downhill from this point on. Harry Winks will probably go to, Dele Alli will probably go to another club and have a good to decent enough season. But in terms of the heights that he's reached, I don't see him ever reaching that again. I don't. And all three of them, by the way, the main reason as to why they will never reach their peak again is something that I've spouted out multiple times before, and I'll spout out again. It's down to mentality and confidence. Confidence is not necessarily the big thing, but the mentality of the players. Man United, yeah, granted, many people will look at the Man United team and be like, they haven't played great this season, yeah? And everyone's fair in their opinion and all that kind of stuff. But one thing you can never say about a Man United team is that you can watch them for 90 minutes and not think that they're not going to score. But with Spurs, you can, the moment we concede, you can almost put a checkbook on it that's a defeat. That's shocking. Stinks.
Oh man,
It's a mess.
No,
It's
you
a
know
mess,
what?
man.
The media, we need to do a full court press on Mourinho tonight. He's got to go tonight.
Look, listen, Mourinho's not getting. He's not getting away. He's not getting through this pod unscathed, innit? Like,
Mourinho does deserve. Look, the one thing I'll say is this: Mourinho's not free of blame. He's definitely not free of blame. Just like Poch was never free of blame. Mourinho's not free of blame. But Mourinho's not liked. He's not liked by the English press. He's not liked by the majority of fans across the world. He's not liked. So all these issues that we're pointing out about the squad is going to be atoned to Mourinho. That's ridiculous. Because most of these players played underneath Poch and went 9 months without an away win. The majority of them. 9 months. So unless you're going to blame Poch for carrying a team to 9 months of nothing, yeah, and outwardly blame Poch for that, we can't do the same for Jose Mourinho. But Jose will hold this blame, yeah, because the majority of people don't like him. You saw the performance today. If you go into work and you perform like that at work, are you then going to turn around to the board of directors and say, it's my manager's fault that I played this crap? No, they're going to look at you. You're the one that's going to be on the chopping block.
See, the way I see it now, it's interesting because I feel like you got to give credit. And if you do give credit, yeah, then it's fair to take, like, when a guy's messing up, it's fair to call it out, innit?
100%.
So, with Mourinho, I'm going to give credit. I'm not going to say that as soon as he came, like, we just fallen off from where Poch was. I'm going to give credit. Like, the ship was not steady when he came in. The ship was not steady, innit? Poch, I think, what was it, like 9 months without an away win? Like,
9 months.
It wasn't great. Things weren't great. Let's not lie. Like, we weren't going through games feeling like we were going to win every game. I'm sure there was like a period when it was 1-0 that we were scraping.
Yeah.
For a good while. But Mourinho came in, and let's not lie, like, things weren't great. It wasn't downhill straight away, but things weren't great. Like, from the first game, West Ham, 3-0 up. He didn't even make it 90 minutes. He didn't even make it 90 minutes through that game here. like you could see people falling apart at the end of matches. And for me, if you're 3-0 up and you're falling apart at the end of a match, yeah, I can see where y'all's coming from to say that is mentality. Do you get what I mean?
His first game, yeah, exactly what you're saying. All right. His first game, 3-0 up, what, 10 minutes left? Surprisingly. 10 minutes left, conceded 2 goals, almost conceded 3 in his first game. Well, lads, I'll bring you to the Tottenham way of playing football. It's entertaining, isn't it?
And this is what I mean. So my question is this then. So if that's where he's like, let's not lie, he hasn't had the best job, he hasn't had the best time ever. Yeah, he hasn't got the best players in the world. I think he's got good players, hasn't had the best players in the world. But has he made the most of those players? I think that is the key question. Yeah, has Mourinho made the most of those players? From my perspective, I would say not often enough. On occasion, he's got the best out of those players. Not often enough. Now, is that his responsibility? Is it that he's not motivating them, or is it that they're not capable because they're just soft, whatever it is? I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know, because I've thought Spurs were soft for a while. Like, look, you can go back. You can go back to Lads' Tottenham. You can go back to it's the history of the Tottenham. You get me? There's a million different ways to say it, bro. They say it in different languages, like different accents. Yeah, there's different ways to say it. So there's no denying that there is that thing of this Tottenham Hotspur mentality. But my thing is, if Jose can't change that mentality, bro, what's he doing here? Like, there has to be more to it. My perspective of Jose is he's supposed to be this winner. He's supposed to build a fortress. It's not feeling like a fortress right now, bro. It's supposed to be us versus them. Like, it's not feeling like us versus them right now. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
It's interesting that you say that. Now, I do agree with you that, like I said, some of the blame would be placed on Jose. But what I will say is that in terms of like the notion that Jose is a negative manager and all this kind of stuff, if you go and look at the lineup that he's played even this season, yeah, and I've heard people say that Jose doesn't work on the attacking side of things. Okay, well, maybe he doesn't, yeah, but we're talking about this apparent, I'm quoting what's been said, this apparent world-class attacking front line that we have, yeah? Any coach in the world, yeah, apparently would love this attacking front line, yeah? So I look at this front line and I'm like, how much coaching do you need to train them to create chances? Because in training, I've played football, yeah, maybe not to a professional standard, yeah, but even when playing football, I don't need managers to tell me how to create chances. The whole purpose of creating chances is down to movement. If the players don't move, you can't create chances. How do you play a ball in behind the back line if a player's out wide? He steps out wide, he cuts across the back of the defender, or he cuts across in front of the defender. If somebody slips that ball in, it's because of the movement. Now, we have players like Ndombele that loves to play a ball around the corner. We have players that, like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Højbjerg, who likes to break up the play, but plays those little short plays. We have Reguilon, who loves to bombard up the line and get those crosses in. But I'll be honest with you, in the last 3 months, I've been honestly disappointed with the likes of Son, who I think has been poor, if you want my honest opinion. I'm not, we can take all the results you want under the sun, but I think Son has been poor. I think despite the goals that he has scored, Harry Kane has largely been disappointing. And granted that the last few games, Bell has been the guy that, you know, has stepped up in the last few games. Let's be honest. Yeah, Bale told Jose Mourinho himself, I know my body the best. Yeah, I know how I'm going to manage my body. I know how I can get myself back to my bed. We're only seeing Bale play longer minutes now. He told Jose Mourinho he only wants to play on the right-hand side of our team. That limits any sort of managerial thing that can be done. Spurs are the only team Jose Mourinho has managed that have not even reached the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Only Spurs could do this.
Yeah, that's a mad stat still. I didn't even know that.
Only,
Tops, man.
only Spurs could do this.
Tops, what's your take on Mourinho, man? Like this, what do you think? Are you swayed by Yao's argument?
Yar's argument that generally the players are not doing enough. Is that what
I
we're
think
saying?
what Yao is basically saying is that it like essentially there's no manager that could have done anything with these players. Is that the gist of it, Yao? The way how they're playing at the moment.
Yeah, I'll give you a better gist, Tops.
Wait, hold on. Let him land first.
I'll give you a better gist, Tops. Yeah,
Sorry,
because
sorry.
obviously people will say Jose out, bring another manager in. We can bring another manager in. I don't trust this team, so it doesn't matter what manager comes in, and it will be nice for maybe a month, 2. We might even get lucky and be nice for about 6 months. Yeah, but the majority of this team is going to let whatever manager comes in down. If Tuchel, for argument's sake, didn't go Chelsea and he came Spurs, we would be crap. There's no two ways about it. Yeah, that Chelsea team, on paper and in reality, is a better team than Spurs. I don't care what anyone says to me and tries to argue that it's not. Yeah, Harry Kane, I can point out multiple games in which Harry Kane has gone missing, and he's meant to be the talisman of our squad. But when the crap hits the fan and you need these players to pull up their socks, roll down their shirts, and get it cracking, they do not do this time and time again. And it's not only been shown in the cup competitions, it's been shown in the league, even under Poch. That's my point.
Like you know what? I largely agree. I feel like it's. Do you know what? It's, in my opinion, I feel it's a mixture of two things. Whilst I largely agree with what you're saying, I also feel like it's too difficult for us to be able. Like, I know it's so frustrating because we have an owner who's fine this season. He freed it up, but he freed it up only for Jose. I don't think if it's anybody else, he frees it up. And I feel like whilst we got the players that we got, the squad, like Owen said, needs a rehaul, man. The quality is actually not at the level that we require it to be. And this is where I feel like where we've gone wrong. With Pochettino, I know we keep talking about it, but with Pochettino, that was a manager who was able to coach out a lot of these players and improve them in systems that worked. But we have a manager in Mourinho who I don't believe anymore has the ability to coach these players out of specific systems, out of specific like methods that they're used to. And I do, as a result, believe that there's a lot of them who are just not at the required quality. Yes, you could look at Chelsea and say that they're probably a better playing team and they've got a better squad. But in man-to-man, I look at our team and I just don't think that there's enough quality to be able to do what people say that we should be doing. Fine, Kane has had a bit of a slump. He's still got 16 goals, 13 assists. Son has had a bit of a slump. He still can, at least you can put these men up against the wall and say, fine, you've done this. But then you put other men up against the wall and they can't stand up. Look at Lloris, the goals that he's let in. Look at some of the defenders, the way they're defended. Look at our attackers, the guys that are apparently supposed to be the ones who can score goals, create goals. Ability to assist, ability to create chances. Not enough of these players have been able to produce. Not enough of these players have been able to say and stand up and be like, okay, I've done my bit. Because fine, you can say Son and Kane have had bad runs. But I can give them that because they've been carrying the team. What about Bergevin? What about Lucas? What about Ali? Like, people can say, okay, Lo Celso's been injured. What about Lo Celso? Even in Ndombele, everybody needs to be accountable because at the end of the day, the problem with this football club is that not enough people are accountable. Everybody's happy to shift the blame. The players are saying it's the manager. The manager are saying it's the players. We need to know what is the crux of the problem because it feels, all of this feels very, very similar. It almost sounds very similar again because now people are saying, okay, fine, we get rid of Poch. Sorry, we get rid of Mourinho. We're still left with the same players. But then everyone's like, okay, fine, we get rid of the manager. So we get rid of some of the players and we're still left with the same manager. Like, there's a massive disconnect between what I think people are looking at Spurs and thinking we're doing and actually what we're doing. Like, in my opinion, I'm looking at us and I honestly don't see a direction, man. Like, I still feel the Mourinho appointment was a very short-term one. He was basically like, you know what? You're a winner. I'm going to free it up for you. Do your thing. Win me something. Keep them off my back. But it's backfired. And it's actually backfired horribly. It's backfired horribly because now I'm looking at a football club, a progressive football club with amazing training facilities, with an amazing stadium, money hopefully coming in. And honestly, there's no plan on the football pitch. I can't see any organisation from the top down where we can say, okay, we want to do this, we want to do that as a football club. Like, it looks lost to me. Like, it looks lost to me because, right, we sack Mourinho tomorrow. I want him gone. But we're still left with half that lot in the squad. Are they going to go to Villa on Sunday and suddenly chalk up? No, they're not. So what do we change?
Can I just say that you made a point about Levy freeing it up for Jose Mourinho. The signings were Bale, Vinicius, Højbjerg, Doherty, Reguilon, and who else?
Joe Hart.
Joe Hart and Rodon.
Yeah, Rodon.
Okay. So Doherty obviously hasn't worked out. That guy is useless. But I'm not even going to get into it.
We know he's trash.
Yeah,
he hasn't worked out. Right back.
Joe Hart, although, you know, fine. Joe Hart was always going to be like our secondary goalkeeper, and he's come in, and I guess, you know, he is what he is, whatever.
He's going to fail, but I ain't going to lie. But
I wasn't expecting him to be anything other than what he's already been this season, so I'm not surprised by that. But then we go to the crux of like the big ones. Højbjerg has been, for the most part, a decent to good signing. Reguilon, again, decent to good signing. These guys, I feel, can kick on. Vinicius hasn't worked. Yeah, and people can say he needs more minutes. I don't want to see him have more minutes. He hasn't worked. Yeah, it's that simple. And Bale did not come off the golf course till literally a month ago. So we can talk about it freeing up, but there's always going to come a point in a transfer window where you have to make a key decision. Yeah, we had Skriniar set and ready. Only a couple millions on the table was the difference. Just a couple millions. Set and ready. Skriniar, if you've been watching Inter Milan, is now their best defender. He's their guy. He's got them top of the league. Skriniar, we had him dead to rights, ready to come. He was there. Boss, I'm here for you. I'm ready. Levy said, I don't want to pay the extra 4 million. You know what? You're a bum. You're a rat. Yeah, because you went and spent 11 million on Rodon, and Rodon couldn't even get into the Europa League team. You're a rat. You're a chief. That's what you are, bro. If I see you in my end, it's GBH. It's GBH on site.
Oh, man. What do you think of Levy right now? Is it fair what y'all saying?
My biggest gripe, to not try and be too reactionary, was I even said this at the end of our summer window. I felt like it was good on paper. It was disappointing we didn't get Skriniar for sure, but all in all, I felt like Mourinho was backed for the most part, and I think our biggest shortcoming was essentially just not finding a way to offload some of our deadwood, which seems to be perhaps even the root cause of our shortcomings now. Because not only have some of these players, some of this deadwood not been performing to the level that they can, it's having a negative effect on the changing room. And I remember Trippier in an interview alluded to it before, like this false image that the squad is unified, like that the image that the squad is unified is a lie. That I could even see it. You can see it in people or players who perhaps are still behind Mourinho.
Bill doesn't even hide it, innit? He's just like, get rid of Lucas.
Pretty much. And you can just tell, like, okay, when Mourinho's shouting press off the touchline with Shao Sacramento, apparently they're screaming it pretty much the whole game. in 6 or 7 different languages, but the players just not. Well, some are and some aren't, and there's just this, for lack of a better word, just shattered squad, which isn't cohesive whatsoever. It's just not unified whatsoever. So that's been our biggest shortcoming. I think Levy's actions tell me he's trying, even though a lot of his energy is kind of misplaced. And I get you have to work in the COVID market at the moment. We've been seriously unlucky with that, by the way. Like, we've been obviously keeping our purse strings tied until we have the new stadium revenue coming in. And just as we get the new stadium revenue coming in to spend the money, like, don't forget, the first summer we had the stadium open, we spent net about 120 million on players. Again, whether that was the right or wrong signings or not, like, the intent was there. And then COVID happened and we have to keep the purse strings tight again. Whether there was that extra money there for Skriniar or not, whether the difference was 4 million or not, I don't know. But I wouldn't put our situation at the moment down to Levy at all. We've been unlucky in parts just with the timing of certain things. I see you're shaking your head. You can come in, bro. You can come in, but like,
I'll let you land.
and just genuinely have failure to.
Wait, hold on, guys, hold on. I think Todd's trying to. Oh wait, did you say?
I was saying Owen has to land. Okay. Everyone's opinion is important.
It was just to finalize my point. Generally, I feel like a failure to offload certain players has come back to bite us much worse than I thought. And obviously Mourinho's not been able to get the best out of our current crop. But yeah, mainly the players and their attitude, to be fair.
Yeah.
Were you going to reply to that one?
On my Levy point, for the majority of, being a Spurs fan, I've looked at clubs like United, Liverpool, Chelsea. I'm not even going to lie. Arsenal, before they moved to the Emirates, I used to look at these clubs in envy because I don't know whether they operated their clubs in the negative, but, it wasn't always about profit in terms for these clubs. Like, if I'm correct, I think Man United have like a massive debt in terms, but it's not always been about profit for these clubs. It's always been about success on the field. I'm talking about the clubs in general that I've just spoken about. With Spurs, it's always been, especially since Enoch has come in, it's always been about stabilizing the club, making the club bigger globally or brand-wise, yeah? And, bringing in more money into the club. And granted, they have done that, yeah? Because nobody can really take that away from them. They have done that. They've given us a stadium. They've given us a great training ground. They've given us I guess, better players than what we had, definitely from the 90s and the early 2000s. But if we're going to go to the next level, there has to be some sort of risk taken. Like, you can't go to the next level penny pinching. There has to be some sort of risk taken. Like, at some point, it just has to happen. Yeah, we've been down this road too many times. Skriniar is not the first one. Like, you can go down the history alone. You could name 40 players that have been absolute worldies, yeah, that we were millions away from signing. Like, literally. And it's that little risk. And I'm not, like I said, it doesn't come down to me not saying that Jose is not to blame. Of course, the manager has to hold some sort of blame. But we're watching this. Well, we're literally watching this, and it's not. If this was happening just under Jose Mourinho, yeah, I would 1,000,000% blame him. I'm talking 1,000,000% just outright blame him. But these kind of performances that we're seeing under Jose Mourinho, let's not be fooled by the 6 years that Poch was there. They were there as well. Maybe not in the first 4 years, but that last 2-year stint was horrible. Especially the last 18 months. That the team alone absolutely let their manager down. Some of the stuff they did was horrific. And the majority of that team is still here. That's the problem. it took us all summer to get rid of Ericsson, who didn't even want to be here. Like this is we're at the crux now of like we're getting to a point, and I'm gonna make this suggestion. Yeah, I'm gonna make this highlight. Can we finish top 4? Mathematically, yes. Do I believe we can finish top 4? No. Do I think we should be in a competition like the Europa League next season? No, I don't think we should be in the competition next season because I don't think it helps us in any way, shape, or form, especially with the kind of players we have. I don't think Spurs are going to be competing with the other so-called big teams in the English side of the game we're talking. I reckon this is going to be us for like the next 5 years. If the people at the top don't start to realize that an overhaul is needed, and people will be like, "Oh, Jose needs to go." If you want my honest opinion, yeah, I would actually give Jose more time than I would give half the squad because half the squad's been there.
Why?
Because half the squad has already been there.
Okay.
We're not going to get any better from them.
Right. I hear you, brother. Okay, I hear you, brother. But look at tonight's game. Tonight's game, all right. We're gonna look at it as the game on its own. Forget North London derby, forget everything else. We're looking at tonight's game. All right. He has to basically go into that game and not lose badly. I look at that game, 120 minutes, brother, and honestly, I don't see any organization that makes me feel like we were ever in control of that game. I don't see anything as an isolated football match that makes me feel like, okay, he was in control of that game. Not only tactically, but even with regards to personnel. So, for instance, he takes off certain players and he wants other players to perform in a certain way or to do certain roles. They don't do those certain roles. Is that down to the player who's not doing a certain role, or is that down to the coaching staff and the manager telling them to do certain things? Because Tottenham, I don't believe Tottenham with the squad, with the players actually that finished that game, brother, should not be leaving Zagreb 3-0 down. I don't believe it. So when I look at that game as isolated, I see a lack of organization. I see a lack of structure. I actually see a lack of ownership from the manager. Because whilst the players can do what they're doing, you're watching it even as an outside person, not even as a Tottenham fan, and seeing basically what are Tottenham doing on a game that is arguably, apart from the League Cup final, the most important game of their season. Why then do you feel, okay, with those players or with more players, he needs to be given the opportunity to be extended? That doesn't, like to me, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not massively disagreeing with what you're saying, but I'm hearing it, I'm thinking, but he hasn't done enough to show me that he deserves. Especially in the game that is of the magnitude of tonight's. I just don't see
One sec tops. Let me add to that point, Yao, and then you reply to it. Yeah. I think, Yao, you made a point just earlier about Pochettino losing the team over that sort of 18-month period to the point where the team actually let him down.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask is, considering what you just heard from Tops, do you think the team are letting Mourinho down now? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So what I'm getting at is, Tops, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Yeah. What I mean by I don't disagree with what you're saying is because football is a results-based business. Yeah? So 9 times out of 10, if you don't get a result, the manager is going to get the can. So that's why I don't disagree with what you're saying. But the problem that a lot of modern day fans don't seem to take into consideration, I'm not talking about us in general, I'm talking about just modern day fans, is that they sit there and generally believe that the players on ability alone should get the job done. Jose Mourinho has lost, or Jose Mourinho's Tottenham, should I say, has lost 3-0 to Dinamo Zagreb, yeah, in the Europa League, away from home. Okay, cool. I remember a season under Poch in which we went out of the Champions League in the group stages, and the performances were beyond farcical. We then drew Genk. We drew Genk in the Europa League and went out immediately at home at Wembley. I was there.
I was there too.
I was there. In fact, anyone that was around me would have heard me booing after 10 minutes. I booed our own squad After 10 minutes of, I couldn't believe what I was watching. So, this is my problem with Spurs. Yeah, our loss. I'm not going to include Sherwood because that's not a manager. That's just a virus. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about 4 actual managers. Harry Redknapp, who's the typical Jack the Lad, comes in, makes everyone believe that they, can go and sell apples down Hackney Market. Fine, great. That's all good and well, but football needs tactics at the end of the day. And if you don't have tactics, you're going to lose. That's what happened under Harry Redknapp. It was a feel-good factor, but in the end, when tactics came down to it, he always got found out. Then we got AVB. AVB was the young protagonist that really and truly didn't know much about, the game. Gave it all a glitz and glad, but it wasn't good enough, yeah? And he got canned. Then we got Mauricio Pochettino, yeah? Who comes from the old school way of Bielsa. And Bielsa is a general in terms of he plays football in this particular style of way that the modern day of football, everyone loves to see. I mean, it's great, yeah, but the long and short of it is football is all about freaking trophies and achievements. And under Poch, unfortunately, and this really annoys me the most, under Poch, every time it looked like we were there or thereabouts, we never made it to the mountaintop. And if I'm being honest with you, yeah, I would love to blame Poch for that. I really would. But with the amount of opportunities we had as a squad just to make the mountaintop at least once, I look at the players. So when it comes to a manager like Jose Mourinho, and let's look at Jose Mourinho's most recent tenure, yeah? Jose Mourinho went back to Chelsea, won I think it was called the Capital One at that time, but won a Carabao Cup, and then won the Premier League. He left there on horrible terms. Fine, everyone remembers that. He then went to United and won the Europa League and won the Carabao Cup, yeah? And again, left there on bad terms. I think he even made the final of the FA Cup. He comes to Spurs, and in his first season is knocked out of the Carabao Cup. I can't remember who it was against. I think it was Colchester or something like that. And then gets knocked out of the FA Cup. The next season now, he makes it to the Carabao Cup final. Granted, it was an easier path, even though we had to beat Chelsea on the way. And then loses 5-4 to Everton in the FA Cup. But I want to highlight something that was said in that game that pissed me right off. We lost that game 5-4. And all the pundits could say was, oh, that was an entertaining game. Looked like Spurs really gave it the most they could in that game. They were just unfortunate with a few defensive errors. Are you bloody kidding me? We're not here for entertainment. I want results. So you are right. Today's result was absolutely farcical. Is the manager to blame fully for this result? No. Does he need to hold some of the blame? Yes. But
could I just ask a quick question, Yor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Say if Mourinho got the fully backed, brave backing from Levy and he was to get an overhaul in the summer and fully add some of his own players, would you keep Mourinho? Because I don't think I've heard you say that you would down tools on Mourinho yet.
I probably, I'll be honest with you, it's a fair question. Would I keep Mourinho if he was backed? I would give him one more season. But, and this is the biggest but of them all, it's Spurs. It's Daniel Levy.
But why, bro? But why?
Stop. Let me add to what you're
saying. Enough of Mourinho for you to then back him some more.
But this is okay. But this is the thing. You're saying why? Yeah. You're saying why? Let's be honest. Yeah. Hindsight is a very good thing in life. Yeah. But hindsight has made us see Jose Mourinho managed this team in the negative style of football, if you want to call it that, and took us to the top of the league. And even while we were top of the league, I was like, I don't think we're going to stay there for much long. But we went top of the league in December. I'm going to ask a simple question to everyone here. In your lifetime as a Spurs fan, could you name another year in which Spurs were top of the league in December?
No.
The silence is deafening. Yeah, even under Poch, who's arguably our best manager in the Premier League, he never was top by December. And again, it's almost like I'm just defending the managers. And trust me, I'm not just defending the managers because I do hold some blame towards them. But the reason why I would give Mourinho just one more shot the merry-go-round, if you want it to be said here, is because there's no way on a blue moon, now that hindsight has played its course, that this team should have even been anywhere near the top of the league. We are where we are because the players that we have are crap. That's why.
Listen, brother, I tell you, I just need to see tomorrow morning, 9:01, official communicado, and that's weekend. I don't care, man. I need to see this weekend, man. Otherwise, my weekend's
official
communicado. That's what I need to see, man. Nothing else, man. I'm
Look,
not here for it.
One sec.
Not buying what he's selling. Not anymore. I'm not hearing any of this, man. Fine, we can actually get rid of the players. We can actually sort that out. But at this point, I want him gone. We can't.
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. One sec. Just to give some structure to this year, I think we can even have a vote. Tops, was it right to get rid of Pochettino at the time?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, was it right to get rid of Pochettino at the time?
No.
Owen, was it right to get rid of Pochettino at the time?
I think it was. Yeah. I feel like it was way too toxic at the time, and I wanted to preserve a good relationship with Pochettino for him to potentially come back one day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at the time, it was the right time.
My next question, hold on one sec though, y'all. My next question, just to land, would be, is it toxic now? Do you think it's that same level of toxic now, Tops?
Do I think it's that same level of toxic now? I think the way the season has gone, I think it's there or thereabouts. Because, like, if you think about it, where is the harmony? There's lots of players who are not happy. There are lots of players who are not playing. We are not playing in a style of way that will make people happy. And lots of players have been asked to do jobs that they've never been asked to do. So do I think it's as toxic as it was when Pochettino was sacked? Probably not as toxic, but I think it's near or thereabouts. Like, I don't know what... I think it's been said earlier today, but what motivates these guys for the rest of the season? For the next 9 games, what motivates them?
I think it's more toxic now.
It's going to be
more toxic.
I think it's more toxic.
Just give me what makes it more toxic than when Poch was like at the end of.
I feel like there wasn't as much hate and a disconnect with Pochettino as opposed to Mourinho. Like the fan base have always been split on Mourinho. I think that's fed into the players to an extent as well. And like Tops just said, we have nothing to play for at this point. So not only have we turned in our worst performance in at least a decade in the North London derby, we followed it up by going out the Europa League while holding a 2-0 lead against Zagreb. So with that said, I feel like it's definitely more toxic now.
Fair. And then, I guess you got the last word on that. Is it more toxic now or...
I don't think it... I'm kind of in the same boat as Tops on this. I don't think it's more toxic. What I would say is the reason why I don't think it was more toxic, I distinctly remember the game against Sheffield United, and at the end of it, we were like, 14th or something like that? And honest to God, if Poch had stayed that season, I just saw us going down. I honestly didn't see us like winning enough games. I thought we were going down. And again, I didn't think it was more on Poch. I felt like Poch wanted to beat up half the squad. I got that impression that he was more furious at the players as opposed to he doesn't want to be here. That's the perception I got. So do I think it's more toxic now? No. Do I think it's going to get to that point? Yeah, because again, like I said, we were top in December, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win the league in December. And I'm fully aware of that. But the fact of the matter is, if you guys can go from top to like 9th, bar we didn't have that many injuries. I don't think we had that many injuries or that many like starting players from our team were injured out. At least Liverpool's dip in form can be attributed to like they've had an absolutely horrific season in terms of like injuries and key personnel being out at the crucial games. You can kind of attribute it to that. Does that excuse their drop? No, but like the mentality of our club is baffling to me. It's always been baffling to me. Yeah, you back the manager and you give him time, and this goes for even under Poch. Poch wanted an overhaul, he didn't get an overhaul. The team absolutely crumbled. Jose Mourinho is not going to get given time, and people seem to think that we're going to get somebody like Nagelsmann, and it's going to be any better. I promise you, we'll be here in another 8 months, and then I'll say I told you so.
But wouldn't you rather see things implemented in a system and in like a planned sort of structured way where you would actually feel like, okay, fine, I actually don't mind being patient because I see where we're going with this. Because right now, I'm looking at this Mourinho style football, the way things are going with the way he's talked about players, the way he's carried players, X, Y, Z, and I just don't see how things get better. Whereas at least I'm looking on the outlook that, fine, we might not have a known winner. We might not have the star names that people want us to have as the club because we want to be, seen as a big club. But at least then we can say that, okay, fine, we can see a plan, we can see how it's organized, and we can see like as a club a direction that we're moving to. Because with Pochettino, let's be honest, it was us moving in the right direction. I'm not even going to speak negatively on Levy because I feel like at this point he has done as much as he can do to put in place for us to kind of be progressive as a football club and be spoken about like a big club. And I just feel bad because now it's clear that Mourinho decision was a short-term one. And the football club that we are, in terms of the progression we're making, us trying to obviously increase our revenue, us trying to increase the amount of money that we spend, we actually need to be moving in. If you're going to say, fine, 4 or 5 years before things get better, I would rather see 4 or 5 years in a direction where actually it was slow and improved and I could see it moving in the right direction, as opposed to this stopgap rubbish where it's even more toxic than it was before and things are like completely out of like it's like something out of like what would I call it? Like you see them you see them cartoons where you think, okay, things are going exactly how you think it's going to go, and then at the end you're like, wait a second, so I could have got to this point without all of the rubbish that I basically listened to at the beginning. Because right now I'm hearing a lot of stuff about what Mourinho's done, I'm seeing a lot of stuff about what he's apparently done, and I'm thinking, but we're out of basically 4 cups. We're not going to get Champions League, we're not going to win a cup. He's 10, 12, 15 million pound richer. How did we get here? At this point, I would rather pay Nagelsmann 5 mil and give him a Tanganga, give him a Reguilon, give him an Ndombele and work with it. And at least he knows them man are going to try and listen and he's going to structure them in a way that they're going to be able to move in a certain direction. Because now with Mourinho, where are we going, bro? Like, in my opinion, Mourinho in the English football, in this English football game, he's done. He is done out. Done out.
Nuts. I shouldn't even have to ask. But one word. I just want one word from you guys here, and then we're going to touch on one more subject before we go. But Tops, one word. Mourinho in or out?
Out, brother.
Yeah. Mourinho in or out?
He's going to go anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Out.
Owen, in or out?
To the left.
All right, man. You heard it here first, man. I think this is the first time like the whole lineup has been in harmony on this question.
No, there's no harmony over here. I want half the squad gone, but they're not going to go. So it would have to be Mourinho out. I'm being pragmatic, if that's the better word to use right now.
Well, you know what? Let's touch. Let's briefly touch on Villa. I mean, what needs to change? Like, how can we get through this game like with a win? How can we turn up with the Tottenham Hotspur that we want?
Again, like I hate to keep piping along this line, but then like a couple months or something ago, people were talking about Graham Potter and what's the manager at Villa? What's his name?
Dean Smith.
Smith, right? And this is like, fine. I look at our squad, and I feel like teams like Brighton and Villa, fair play to them, they're doing what they're doing, but they have inferior squads to us. But I look at them, and I see these men have a structure. These men are playing a certain type of football, and their manager is making them and coaching them in the way that suits the players that they have. People are now saying that, oh, we have better players. Yeah, we can have better players, but how am I going to be able to say that I'm looking at someone like Dean Smith or Graham Potter, and I'm seeing them man wanting to play better football than us, or them man looking like they're playing better football than us, when we actually have players who are very, very good. Like I think people are underestimating. Like when we talk about talent, the talent pool at Tottenham is actually crazy, but it's not being utilised because of the management at the top. And people need to understand that. Fine, we're not fine. People can talk about the mentality, but if we're talking about the raw talent that's at Tottenham now, it is at such a high level. And it's not being...
It's at the highest level it's been in recent years, I think.
I personally believe it is. Yes.
So,
take into account. Okay, take into account.
I want you to name...
Wait, hold on. Don't talk over each other.
Starting 11.
Our best starting 11, right?
Because I just... And I'm sorry, because you said the talent pool is like at its all-time high. And you might be right, but I just want to know what our best starting 11 is. And I want to know if everyone believes in that starting 11. That's all I want to know. Talent-wise.
I think you struggle to get to...
In my opinion, my starting 11, Lloris in goal, regular left back, right back is Aurier. Centre back is Alderweireld and Sanchez.
Tanganga. Probably.
Double pivot, Højbjerg and Ndombele. 10, Lo Celso. Left wing, Son. Up front, Kane. Right wing can basically be no one at this point because I don't trust any of them, man. But if I had to pick one, and it was, had a gun to my head, it's going to be Bale. It's going to be Bale.
So
that's my team.
I think that what you've put out is probably what would probably be our starting 11. But once you mentioned the defense, I was like, I don't trust that team to win.
Well, exactly.
Once you went past that defense, yeah, even outscoring teams, I don't trust our team to outscore teams. So, and I hear what you're saying about talent pool, but this is the point I was making about Jose and even Poch. Yeah, I literally hear what you're saying. Poch was fortunate. Yeah, he had a younger squad, a squad that was, how should I put it, willing to listen.
Yes,
yeah?
they were malleable. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were willing to listen. He took that squad probably as far as he could and burnt them to the pits. Yeah, I'm talking dark side, hammer to the ground, fire everywhere. He burnt that squad down. Yeah. Now you've got a much older squad with a manager who, all right, fine, he has his own tactics, but we saw Jose in his first few months. Yeah, it came in and we're like, oh, okay, maybe, he might be stemming the tie and all that kind of stuff. Then it crashed. Then we had COVID. They came back. Oh, okay, we're stemming the tie again. Then we started this season. Oh, okay, it's a bit steady here again. Then it crashed again. Now, and that's my point. I don't think we have the talent like that. I don't rate the talent like that, should I say. That's my opinion.
I hear that.
Outside out, and the midfield sounds good on paper, and probably in terms of their raw ability, they are a good midfield. Maybe need a bit longer to gel because this is Højbjerg and Ndombele's first real full season, because Ndombele's last season didn't really count.
Yeah.
And the strike force, Harry Kane and Son, we know about them. Right hand side, we don't really have anyone. But that's really 4 players out of a potential 6. Lo Celso is a bit of a stop-start because he's been injured, even though he's very talented. And
even him tonight, people were looking at him tonight and being like, I can't complain about him. That's his first game in like 3 months. And
no, he gives as good as he gets.
And he looked better than some of these men who have been playing all season.
Exactly. And that's the point.
So, all right, lads, let's try wrap it up. But
this is your fault.
Listen, it had to happen, man. It had to happen. We had to.
You were asking about Villa, Villa going away to Villa is a funny one. At this point, I know the heads are going to be down. At this point, I can't really predict because I don't know where a lot of these men's heads going to be because the club as a whole will be massively disappointed about this Europa League exit, man. I can see the implications that going out of the Europa League is going to do for us as a football club financially, also where we are trying to move forward to next season, and obviously prior planning for the rest of this season. So, I mean, I can't go into that game on the weekend against a team that's above us in the league with any real confidence, to be honest with you. But I mean, let's just see. We'll probably be playing against a team that doesn't have Jack Grealish, and obviously a lot of players that have played 120 minutes. So it's going to be very, very interesting what team he puts out. I'm not really expecting much at this point, and to be honest with you, I'm just going to watch it with an open eye and see what happens, man.
Owen, anything to add to that? I think it would be the first time we lost to Villa in about 5 years as well. So it really would be a shame.
Good omens. We've got good omens, but I can't lie. I think I've already made plans to not even watch that game. I'm not confident. I'm not confident. I'm genuinely already ready for next season for certain players to come back, for a window to come through. For this game, as I said, I'm not confident. I do believe Jack Grealish might even be back for this as well. I'm not sure if he's injured.
We are in the mud if that's the case, man.
So I would expect us to get a draw at best out of that game. What I want to see going forward now is just players who may play a part for us going forward. So like Japhet Tanganga, I don't think he's been given a fair opportunity to play yet. I don't think he can really do any wrong at the moment because the bar for our defence is on the floor. So why not play Tanganga or even Rodon? Just give him some minutes. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Welsh Mafia, but you know, Rodon can get some minutes. Why not? He's a young defender. He's apparently got some minerals. Why not? Lo Celso can get some minutes as well. Again, he's someone who I'd like to see going forward. Whether he's going to be fit enough to get some minutes, I don't know. But I still want to see us try this Højbjerg and Ndombele and Lo Celso midfield, because I feel like that's going to be our best chance of actually controlling any of our games. And the front three make itself. So I think it's going to be a draw at best against Villa, but I just want to see some players who are going to be part of our long-term future get some minutes from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, you got anything to add to that before we go?
I've never been confident when we go away to Villa. At no point in my life have I ever been confident with that fixture. So I think it'll be a draw at best. I don't see us going there and picking up a victory, especially over the last two games. I don't mind if there's, changes to the squad, but like, I'm sorry, like, I just don't. And it's been for like nearly the last 3 seasons. I just don't trust this squad. I don't trust the majority of the squad. So that's why my stance is, I don't really care what manager comes in. If they have to deal with the majority of the squad that we have, they're going to be, it's going to be to their detriment. So I reckon it'll be a draw. If Grealish is back, for the love of God, we're going to get ripped. We're going to get absolutely torn to shreds. Yeah. In fact, I'm making this decision now. I don't think I'm going to watch the game because I don't deserve that kind of pain in my life. I've got children. I can just watch my sons fight each other. That's more entertaining than the nonsense I've been seeing recently. So, yeah, I don't trust it whatsoever. Would I give Tanganga a run? Yeah, maybe pair him up with Alderweireld because he didn't play today. So I guess
what have we got to lose?
Yeah. I guess there's nothing to really lose there. Lo Celso, probably I'd love Lo Celso to be fit and give more minutes because I do like the kid. I think he's like very talented, but he's been injured most of the season, and I think we've really missed him. To be fair, he's been quite pivotal. Bale, bruv, there's a likelihood, and I'm saying it now, that Bale, if I'm correct, Bale's contract is either up this summer or up next summer. Like we have like the first refusal.
Next summer.
Okay, cool. Like we have the first. Like apparently we can take him on loan for a second season. It's a bit of a risk, if I'm being honest with you. And I'm going to say this: if Bell finishes this season how he started this year, I don't see no harm in taking the risk and keeping him for one more season. But it's depressed City right now because we can't have him for one more season, especially on the right, and giving us half a season. We can't have that. Like we need a squad of 11. There's people that are saying Harry Kane's gonna go this summer. Son's go. Harry Kane's been going since he broke into the team. So I'm done with all that chat. If he's gone, he's gone. I don't care. I actually do not care. Yeah, because the whole thing with our squad here is there has to be some sort of like progression, some sort of movement, some sort of like we're going forward. Can we mathematically finish top 4? Yeah, we can, but does anyone believe we will? No. And so I don't think it's Sunday's game, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not confident for any of the 9 games we got left remaining.
Oh boy, let's see. We're gonna see how this turns out, man. Next week, we've got next week's game. Next week, Villa, Spurs. I think it's a must-win. Like we cannot lose. There were more topics this week, man, but I think we really went down on Mourinho, so we'll have to save some of those till next week.
Oh yeah, we were expecting to go through. So
what can we say, man? All right, big shout out to the rest of the Touchline Media group. Follow us on Twitter at Spurs_Touchline. Follow the rest of Touchline Fracas at Touchline Fracas. And Fracas, should I say even? But yeah, man, have a good one, guys, man. My head's hot.
Man.
Trust me, I need to go lie down.
Big shout out, man. Hey, welcome to the podcast.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
I hate for it to be this way, but boy.
Bro, blame the whole club, bro. I'm fuming. Everyone's holding that nonsense.
Shout out yourself, brother, man. Shout out yourself, man.
We try, bro. Peace.